5:05.
Yes, thank you. Commissioner Gershenson? Here. Ginjo?
Here.
Hoffman?
Here.
Jackson?
Here.
Kokendorfer?
Here.
Howell?
Here.
Kuhn? Kuhn?
Commissioner Kuhn, you're on mute. Oh,
Long?
Here.
Lubes?
Here.
Markham?
Here.
McGilvery?
Here.
Miller?
Here.
Nelson?
Here.
Howell?
Here.
Quarles?
Here.
Biz?
Present.
Taub?
Here.
Weipert?
I'm here.
Woodward?
here.
Zach?
Here.
Mr. Chair, you have a quorum.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. That will bring us to the invocation to be led by the Honorable Commissioner Angie Powell, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. So give the floor to Commissioner Powell.
Okay. Everybody bow their head, please. On. Lord, I'm asking for continued grace over all elected officials in the world during these trying times before us. We were blessed to be chosen leaders by you, and for that, I'm asking for you to please keep us strong, healthy, and to remember to serve with a thoughtful heart. And I close with these two quotes. We need leaders not in love with money, but in love with justice, not in love with publicity, but in love with humanity. Martin Luther King Jr. And my second one is, I want to be remembered as someone who used herself and anything she could touch to work for justice and freedom. I want to be remembered as one who tried, and that's by Dorothy Height. Thank you.
Thank you. And for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance
Allegiance to the flag
of the United
to
States
the
of America,
the
and
Republic,
to the republic for which it stands,
one nation,
under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Commissioner Powell, for that lovely invocation and the pledge. It brings us on to approval of the minutes from the September 23rd meeting. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes? Moved by Commissioner Lube, second by Commissioner Spiz. Is there any discussion on the minutes? Seeing no discussion. All in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
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 Opposed, say nay. Let the record reflect that the minutes are approved unanimously. That brings us on to approval of the agenda as presented. You should be looking at version 3.0. I believe any items that commissioners have reached out or expressed interest or wanting to make amendments to has been pulled off the consent agenda, but is there any items on the consent agenda that members want to pull? Commissioner Todd.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Under the Health, Safety, and Human Services, A, please. I have some questions on that.
Okay, so we want to remove item A on the consent agenda, Community and Home Improvement Division approval of project funding for redevelopment of affordable rental housing in the city of Pontiac located at Carriage Place. Okay,
Thank you.
that will be placed on the regular agenda. Any other things? Okay, Commissioner Miller.
I had a couple questions about the pandemic committee. I believe it's I'm pulling up the 3.0. I'm not sure if that one's still on the consent or not. It's loading right now. Hold, please.
Okay. What, it's under pandemic response. What
I
is it? I on an older version?
I don't know if that's what I'm saying. I don't know if it's,
There's only one item on the consent agenda under the Pandemic Response and Economic Recovery Committee. That's the county executive acceptance of the Michigan Department of Treasury First Responder Hazard Pay Premiums Program. Is that
Yes.
what you're, okay, you want to pull that and put it on the regular agenda?
yes, please.
Okay. We'll pull items A under health and A under pandemic and place it on the regular agenda. Make notes on here. There's health and then pandemic. Okay. Commissioner Top.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I don't have a copy of the fourth or fifth or third agenda. I just have number 2. Has I been removed under?
I'm only looking at version 3.0. There was only, on the pandemic response, under the consent agenda, there was only one item under version 3 agenda that's been pulled to the regular agenda. All other items, like for instance, the Director of Emergency Management Homeland Security position pending board approval, that's on the regular agenda.
This is, no, sir. This is IMR 20441. Board of Commissioners honoring the life and legacy of Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg and her
That is on the, I'm sorry, Commissioner. That item is on the regular agenda.
It is on the regular agenda. That's what I want to know. Thank you very much.
Any other things? Okay. With moving items A from both health and pandemic to the regular agenda, and get a motion to approve the agenda. Moved by Commissioner Zach, seconded by Commissioner Hoffman. All in, I don't think we need to suspend any rules, right?
Yes, we do, Mr.
Oh, sorry. Okay, so Commissioner McGill, we'll strike those. We'll have to withdraw. Commissioner McGilvery, why don't you make the motion to approve the agenda with whatever rules need to be?
Okay, I would make a motion to suspend the board rules using Rule 3, and I have several items. On the consent agenda, there's F, G, H, L, J, and K that need to be on there. And then under the consent agenda, I have items from Health, Safety, and Human Services, item J, K, L, and M. And then on the Pandemic Response Committee, A and B.
Okay. And many of those are already on the consent agenda. That's right. So Commissioner McGilvery moves, including moving those two items, items A and under health and items A under pandemic to the regular agenda. Moved by Commissioner McGilvery, seconded by Commissioner Hoffman. Any further discussion? Commissioner Kowal.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Commissioner McGilvery mentioned, oh, I'm sorry, was it he moving another item under pandemic on the regular agenda?
Correct. That's on the regular agenda. Yeah.
What item was that again?
That was item B is on the regular agenda.
So that's on 3.0, right?
Correct.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, not seeing any further discussion. All in favor of approving the agenda as moved, say aye.
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 Opposed, say nay. Let the record reflect that the agenda is adopted unanimously. That brings us to communications. We've got two items that require public hearings. So let me first declare open the public hearing at 5:14, County Executive Transfer of Homeland Security and Building Safety pursuant to law. We'll declare the public hearing for that item open now. And is there any members of the public that would like to speak to that public hearing? Again, it's public hearing related. We will have public comment broadly, but this is specifically to speak to the public hearing dealing with the transfer of Homeland Security and Building Safety to its own division under the Executive Office.
I have currently one caller. Latina Denson, would you like to speak in the public hearing or public comment section?
Public comment.
Okay, so there are no other callers for the hearing.
Okay. Seeing no, Commissioner Todd, do you want to speak during the public hearing?
Yes, sir, if I may.
Mhm.
This is concerning the transfer of Homeland Security and Building Safety. When does this take effect?
Well, we're going to be taking up that issue later in the meeting. So it's in the resolution. I think it's, effective immediately
Well,
upon
can't-
approval of the board.
well, but doesn't the executive also have to sign it?
Well, yeah, the resolutions are only adopted once the board approves and the executive signs. So effective.
Okay,
upon-
so where is this on the agenda? I'm sorry, but I'm,
Certainly, it will be under the regular agenda. I'm sorry, I'm scrolling here too myself.
I just don't see it. I'm sorry, maybe it's
Yeah,
not.
no, 1 second, it's here. So city, grant, law enforcement, contract extension, law enforcement, delete and create positions, secondary road patrol. Staff,
There's an appointment of the director, Mr. Chair, but there's no resolution for changing the department. Creating a new department.
I believe the,
I'm sorry, sir, I don't see it.
I know, okay, Commissioner Todd, Michael, are you on, Mr. Andrews, can you, bring our, did it come through health?
It's item B on health, emergency no, I'm sorry, I'm wrong.
No, right,
Not.
but did it come through finance? I'm sorry.
I think it came through finance, Chairman.
Okay,
It
I'm looking through them all. There's just like a lot. Oh, here it is. Yep. It's item E under finance, Commissioner Todd.
Under the consent agenda.
Under the consent
Yes.
agenda. Yeah.
I don't see anything, that's why I couldn't find it, because the
It's under-
title says transfer of
Transfer of Homeland Security and Building Safety. Yes, under its own division.
But it doesn't say creating a department. I'll have to look at the resolution, but it does not say, it should say
Well,
that
that's what it.
in the
That's
title.
okay.
So would
No,
you-
that's what it says. That's what the resolution says. We'll take up.
Okay.
We can discuss it when we take up the consent agenda. If you want to address titles.
Well, I'd like to move that to the regular agenda so that the title of the resolution is clear, that it's not a transfer, okay? It's a creation of a new department, which is fine with me, but it just doesn't say what it's supposed to be.
Well, Commissioner Taub, we're off a little bit of the public hearing, but it is a transfer. Homeland Security is already currently under the executive office as a division of health. This is a transfer of Homeland Security and Building Safety, and then if you read the resolution, it spells out expressly what it does. That says to create the Emergency Management and Homeland Security Department under the County Executive's administration. That's the first now therefore be a resolved clause in that resolution.
But somebody in 5 years looking for it will never find it. What is the problem with changing the title as to what you actually are doing?
So we can do that. So if there's no objection, we can move that item off the consent agenda onto the regular agenda. So.
Thank you.
Mhm. So that's item
E.
E. E under finance is on the regular agenda. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to declare the public hearing on the county executive transfer of Homeland Security and Building Safety closed. I'm going to go into the next public hearing, which is Economic Development, Community Affairs Reorganization and Division of Positions. And that is state law requires us to take up have a public hearing on when we reorganize departments. And so I'll declare at 5:20 that public hearing open. And Andrea, is there anyone from the public that would like to address us during that public hearing?
We have no new calls, no new online submissions.
Okay. Seeing no members from the public to speak during that public hearing, I'll declare that public hearing closed, and that will bring us to public comment. And I know we have at least one, if not more. So I will declare public comment. This is the opportunity to speak on any item on or off the agenda. We ask that you keep your comments to 3 minutes, and Andrea Powers will have a timer if you're watching visual, or a timer that we can see, or we'll let you know when you hit your 3 minutes, and we'll ask you to wrap up. Andrea, is there anyone for public comment? Oh,
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Yes, we have one call.
Excuse me, right before we get to public comment, I wonder if there were some other communications that I skipped over. Okay, so Andrea, hold 1 second on public comment. Madam Clerk, I apologize. Madam Clerk, are there any communications other than the public hearings that were listed?
Yes, there is.
Okay.
Very briefly, a communication dated October 1 from Michael J. McDonald of the Village of Leonard to Mr. Woodward, Chair of the Board, informing him that he is very appreciative. He and the City of Leonard are very appreciative of the Main Street Oakland County Organization and Economic Development and Community Affairs teams, and going on to say how it has benefited their community, and they're very much appreciative to you. The next correspondence is dated October 12 from Dave Coulter, Oakland County Executive, informing you, Mr. Woodward, Chairman Woodward, that he is appointing Tom Hardesty to the position of Director of Emergency Management and Homeland Security, and goes on to say that he is very confident in Tom's leadership in this new department and believes it will be exemplary. The last correspondence is dated October 16 from Commissioner Penny Lubes, District 16. Ladies and gentlemen, this is to inform you that I am designating Commissioner William Miller as my representative on the Tax Increment Financing District Review Policy Ad Hoc Review Committee for the remainder of the 2019-2020 Board of Commissioners term ending December 31, 2020. And that concludes the communications.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Is there a motion to receive the communications? Moved by Commissioner Lubes, seconded by Commissioner Jackson. Any discussion? Commissioner Long. You're on mute.
Question, I was the second. Yeah.
Sorry, Commissioner Long, I think you broke up there. All right.
Oh, no discussion. I was just moving it. Sorry.
Got it. All right. Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Long. Okay. Seeing no further discussion on the communications, all in favor of receiving the communication, say aye.
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 Opposed, say nay. Let the record reflect that the communications are received unanimously. So I apologize for that false start on public comment, Ms. Andrea Powers. Is there any member of the public that would like to address us this evening on any items on or off the agenda?
Yes, I currently have one caller, so we'll start with them. They've been waiting since the beginning. So Latina Denson from Southfield, are you available to talk on public comment? They've opened the lines.
Yes.
Okay. Speak freely for 3 minutes and I'll set the timer.
Okay, thank you. Hello, my name is Latina Denson and I am a resident of Southfield. Before I get started, I had a stroke, so be patient with my speech. I have aphasia and dyspraxia, which is a speech impairment. I would like to thank Oakland County for considering the National Disability Employment Awareness Month resolution. This resolution shows the importance of including, caring, and supporting people who have disabilities. Also, I want to encourage the county to improve the amount of affordable, accessible housing and transportation options to enhance the life of people who have disabilities. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Andrea, is there any other members for the public who would like to speak?
I have some online submissions. So there are no other public comment callers. There are no in-person. There are 2 written submissions that I'll read in sequence. From Rochester, Lori Baggett suggests address school reopening and in classroom resuming in Oakland County, please. The next is from Elaine Sepatoris from South Lyon. She writes, Oakland County issued a kennel license in 2016 to the Dog Lodge at Dandy Acres located at 56560 10 Mile Road, South Lyon, without Lyon Township approval. The special land use for Dandy Acres states that the property could not be used for a boarding kennel. The enforcement list at Lyon Township shows that they are illegally operating and have been on this list since December of 2015. I've FOIA'd Oakland County and Lyon Township, and neither one has proof of township approval to operate a kennel. And that concludes our public comment that's been submitted, and there are no new callers. You're on mute. You're on mute, Chairman.
Thank you, Andrea. Seeing no further members of the public that would like to address us during public comment, I'll declare public comment closed, and that will bring us to reports of standing committee. First up, we need a vote to adopt the consent agenda. All of those items, minus E under finance, A under health, and A under pandemic response, which have been moved to the regular agenda. Can we get a motion for the consent agenda? Moved by Commissioner Long, seconded by Commissioner Quarles. Any discussion on any item on the consent agenda? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Thank you. Commissioner Gingell?
Yes.
Hoffman?
Yes.
Jackson?
Yes.
Kokendorfer?
Yes.
Kowal?
Yes.
Kuhn?
Commissioner Kuhn, you're on mute.
Kuhn says yes.
Can you give us a thumbs up or thumbs down, Commissioner Kuhn? We're having a hard time with that. There you go. Commissioner Kuhn votes yes.
Thank you. Commissioner Long?
Yes.
Lubes?
Yes.
Markham?
Yes.
McGilvery?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
Nelson?
Yes.
Powell?
Yes.
Quarles?
Yes.
Is?
Commissioner Spiz? Commissioner Spiz?
Push 2 buttons. Yes.
Yes. Commissioner Spiz votes yes.
Taub?
Yes.
Weipert?
Yes.
Woodward?
Yes.
Zach?
Yes.
Gershenson?
Yes.
Mr. Chair, 20 yeas, 0 nays.
Sufficient number voting in the affirmative. The consent agenda is adopted. Now we'll move it to the regular agenda. Under the regular agenda, we will start with item E. That was pulled from the consent agenda. And I will open the floor up to Commissioner Zach.
Well, I want to move County Executive Transfer of Homeland Security and Building Safety.
Moved by Commissioner Zach, seconded by Commissioner Lubes. Any discussion? Commissioner Todd.
Yes, I would like the title of this. I do support this, to reflect exactly what we're doing. We are creating a new department in the county executive's office, which is fine. And I think he's got a terrific person to run the department. That's not the point. Point is, it'd be very difficult to find this if you have to Google it. So could we do transfer and creation of the Department of Homeland Security? Just change the title.
So, I normally would pause, to write this up, but maybe we'll surpass that. Using the now therefore be it resolved line, Commissioner Taub, tell me if this is right, is moving that we change the title to transfer and create the Emergency Management and Homeland Security Department under the County Executive Administration.
Perfect. I couldn't have done it better. Thank you.
We just lift off a sentence in the resolution. Moved by Commissioner Taub, seconded by Commissioner McGilvery. Commissioner Long, you had your hand up.
No, I was just on the amendment. I didn't think it was necessary because it was in the resolution, just like you said. So that was my point. But she didn't have a second yet, but it doesn't make a difference. It's fine.
Okay. I think everyone is. I generally agree. How do we think? All in favor of that amendment, say aye.
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 Anyone if opposed, say nay. Let the record reflect that the amendment is adopted unanimously. That brings us to the original motion to approve. Is there any further discussion on the resolution? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll on the resolution.
On the resolution, Commissioner Hoffman,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Hogendorfer,
Yes.
Kowal,
Yes.
Kuhn,
Yep. Commissioner Kuhn gives a thumbs up.
Commissioner Long,
Oh, you muted yourself.
Yes. You hear me?
Lutz,
Yes.
Markham,
Yes.
McGilvery,
Yes.
Middleton. Oh, sorry. Miller,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Quarles,
Yes.
Biz,
Yes.
Cobb,
Yes.
Wipert,
Yes.
Woodward,
Yes.
Zach,
Yes.
Gershenson. Yes. Gingell.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, 20 yeas, 0 nays.
Sufficient number voting in the affirmative. The resolution is adopted. Commissioner Zach.
I move the Economic Development and Community Affairs reorganization of divisions and positions.
Moved by Commissioner Zach, seconded by Commissioner Lubes. Any discussion? Commissioner Spiz, followed by Commissioner Taub. Commissioner Spiz.
Do we have anybody on from administration to kind of give us a 10,000 foot level of this? Because I read through the resolution itself and I do have additional questions. So I was hoping to get a little bit like a 10,000 foot update on exactly what they're doing. It made sense, and don't get me wrong, I'm not against it because we're reducing heads and some other things are moving around. But there were some positions that said they were eliminating, such as a graphic designer. So are they actually eliminating that graphic designer or one of many graphic designers they may have? That's kind of my basic question.
I think Commissioner Zach can speak to what the discussions in finance were. So Commissioner Zach, you want to address Commissioner Spiz, and then I'll come back to Commissioner Taub. Commissioner Zach.
We're not eliminating graphic designers. We're consolidating the communications piece under the county exec. So they took it out of the economic development area and put it into this other department under county exec so that there's a clear message going out for economic development, other pieces of the county. I found personally, when I looked at the organizational chart, that was very clear to me to see what was happening. And if you scroll through, you'll see that.
If I may,
Commissioner
Mr. Chair.
Spitz for a second time.
I understand they're consolidating, but if you go down, or if you go on page 794, for example, it says, be it further resolved to delete the following positions. Graphic designer is the first one on there.
In this department.
In this
In that department.
Right. So they're going to have that position, just moving into different areas. Is that what you're telling me?
Correct.
Okay, I'm good. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Spitz. Commissioner Taub.
Yeah, can Commissioner Zach, I have two questions. First of all, can Commissioner Zach tell us where it shows it in another department?
So
Getting
when,
rid of-
okay, when we had this presented to us in finance, we had this as a separate agenda item, and then we had another one that talked about the whole communications moving into the county exec. And I don't see this on the agenda separately. Chris Ward, do you have something to offer that?
I'm sorry, I just got off the phone and switched on to the regular application. I'm sorry, what was the question again, Commissioner Zach?
Okay, so when we had this, Commissioner Taub is asking about the separate communication item within the county exec. And we had the two separate resolutions in finance. One was the economic development organizational piece, and then we had the other one. And I don't see the other one or Mike Andrews on our agenda.
I believe.
No, it's not. So my question.
So there is so I believe that there is a budget amendment. It's in blue that we need to adopt. That's part of the agenda.
The other one you're referencing was the Homeland Security one that that was the other reorganization.
No.
It was communication one, when they were taking people out of economic development and consolidating all of the communications into a separate piece under county chief deputy county exec Hillary Chambers.
In other words, what we're saying is you've deleted a ton of positions out of economic development. Where did they go? Are they gone forever? And so because they were unfilled, or are they in some other, have they been moved to some other department? I think that I'm trying to make it as concise as I can.
So that's right. Well, I think, if we look at, and Commissioner Ward can correct me.
I appreciate the confidence.
Yes.
I believe that there was, under the county executive, there was created a new division for communication, and that's where those economic development positions were moved to.
But we
And
don't
that's all
have any
encapsulated.
indication of that.
That's all encapsulated in the resolution before you, I believe.
The resolution before us, and Mr. Ward, we need to adopt this budget amendment.
There's a budget amendment with that, yes. Just needed to be added post-committee.
Post-committee, got it. So, okay, well, can I get, let's do that, and then we can continue the discussion here. Can we get a motion for the budget amendment as attached here in your packet? Moved by Commissioner Quarles, seconded by Commissioner Lubes. Any discussion on the budget amendment? Commissioner Taub.
Please tell me where it is. I don't see it on my agenda number 2. Has it been moved to number 3?
It immediately follows the item in the packet. It's I see it as a blue sheet.
Yeah, Chairman.
I see it on page 802.
No. Where on the agenda is somewhere to amend the budget? I don't see a resolution for amending the budget on the agenda. I'm very confused.
No, Commissioner Taub, it's a budget amendment to the resolution. That's been moved.
I don't think it was in version 2.
No. Oh, well, was it ever voted on?
We're amending it right now, Commissioner Taub. The resolution was pending the budget amendment would be attached as part of this. And so we have the budget amendment as presented by the administration. for the reorganization of the divisions and positions. And it's before us now. Any further discussion on the budget amendment?
Why didn't finance get it to all over?
Commissioner Tom, I'm gonna go to Commissioner Spitz. Commissioner Spitz.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is a general question. Being that it's only 2 weeks before the election, why are we voting on this now and not until after the election? Because if things do change, which who knows what's going to happen, we might end up having to make another change next year.
I believe the whole point of this overall organization is to align economic development with the strategic plan for economic development that we've talked about and presented. And that's why this question is before us.
I'd like to make a motion to postpone until after the election.
Moved by Commissioner Spiz to postpone. Is there a second?
Support.
Support by Commissioner Gingell. Any discussion on postponement? Commissioner Zach.
So I would like to say that this moved out of finance, that the majority of the finance members voted in favor of this in finance. And only one person did not vote for it, Mr. Middleton. And his reason for not doing that is that he wanted to make sure that it was on the regular agenda versus the consent agenda. So there was bipartisan support to do this now. This whole reorganization was presented to us several months ago after the consultants that it was coming, and now the fiscal numbers have been worked out. And it is actually a savings of money, and it's much more focused. It's putting more emphasis on workforce development, which I think, as a department, elevating that, it's very strategic, and I see no reason why we shouldn't move forward now.
Thank you, Commissioner Zach. Commissioner Taub on postponement.
Well, I'm gonna have to support that because I have no documentation. I see nothing on version 3.0. I can't access it for some reason. I don't think anyone has read it, hardly. I'm sure Commissioner Zach has read it, but I don't know. Did finance discuss this at all? I have no clue if they did or they didn't. If they did discuss it, which is fine, then why didn't it appear as an agenda item? Why is it a last minute addition? I don't get that. That doesn't seem reasonable to me. I mean, that's very strange that all of a sudden it's dropped on the agenda on the third version of the agenda. It should have been on the first version or the second version if it came from finance. I don't understand why we can't look at it. I'd like to have time to look at what we're doing and how it's being done.
To Commissioner Zach's point, they explained it was discussed in committee, the resolution was adopted. The thing that we're doing is adopting the budget amendment that follows the reorganization that has been recommended by consultants. This is a professional consideration to align our economic development with the economic strategic plan that's in place. And I agree with Commissioner Zach, there's no reason for postponement.
Well, okay.
Madam Clerk.
Well, then why is it on?
It is on the agenda. Commissioner Todd, it has been on the agenda. It's an amendment to the agenda, to the resolution that we were discussing before the motion for postponement. Commissioner Hoffman raised his hand. Commissioner Hoffman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I guess this is, I'm not opposed to this because the county executive probably has the authority to do this, just as any other highly elected official might be, maybe considering appointing a Supreme Court justice or something. I agree. I think it's all along the same lines, and that's why I support this.
Thank you, Commissioner Hoffman. All right, any further discussion on postponement? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll on postponement.
Yes, on the motion to postpone. Commissioner Jackson?
No.
Ockendorfer?
Yes.
Kowal?
Yes.
Kuhn?
Yes.
Long?
No.
Lubes?
No.
Markham?
No.
McGilvery?
No.
Miller,
No.
Nelson,
No.
Howell,
Pass.
Quarles,
No.
Biz,
Yes.
Taub,
Yes.
Wypert,
No.
Woodward,
No.
Zach,
No.
Gershenson,
No.
Angel,
Yes.
I'm sorry, yes?
Yes.
Thank you. Hoffman,
No.
come back to Powell? Or should you? she's gonna-
No. No.
Thank you.
Madam, Mr. Chair,
Yeah.
Cole, I'd like to change your vote to no.
Commissioner Cole changes her vote to no on postponement.
All right, we have 5 yes, 15 no.
An insufficient vote in the affirmative, the motion to postpone fails. That brings us back to the budget amendment that's before us. Any further discussion on the budget amendment? Commissioner Top.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I haven't. I have one on the.
On the main motion?
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you. Sorry.
So, Madam Clerk, please call the roll. I see no further discussion on the amendment. Madam Clerk, please call the roll on the amendment, the budget amendment to the resolution.
Yes, on the motion, on the budget amendment. Commissioner Kokendorfer,
Yes.
Kowal,
Yes.
Kuhn,
Yes.
Long,
Yes.
Loops,
Yes.
Markham,
Yes.
McGilvery,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Howell,
Yes.
Quarles,
Yes.
Biz,
Yes.
Taub,
Yes.
Wypert,
Yes.
Woodward,
Yes.
Zach,
Yes.
Gershenson,
Yes.
Angel,
Yes.
Hoffman,
Yes.
Jackson.
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Chair, you have 20 yay, 0 nay.
A sufficient number voting in the affirmative, the budget amendment is adopted. That brings us back to the main motion to adopt the resolution. Commissioner Tao, I'll recognize you for a second time.
Yes, thank you. Again, you're deleting whole bunches of people. Are they actually being transferred? Are we firing them? Do they have another position within the county? What's being done with these positions that are being deleted or moved or transferred or whatever?
I mean,
Mr. Chair, I'm sorry to interrupt. If you'd like, I took a closer look at it. We are creating a new unit in the county executive's office for media and communication. Those positions have been scattered in multiple departments, I believe, in the past. So some of the positions that you spoke to earlier, I believe Commissioner Spiz spoke to earlier, are just being transferred and consolidated under the management of one unit. That's not every position in this resolution, but that's to address Commissioner Zach's question and Commissioner Spiz's question earlier. Sorry to interrupt.
Commissioner Tao.
So then are those positions, is that communications unit or whatever it's called, being transferred to a department? And if so, which department?
The county executive's office.
It's all within the county executive office. They in the resolution, and as it was discussed in committee, 1 full-time and 2 PT&E reduction in staff. That's helping yield the cost savings of this.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Commissioner Quarles, I think you had your hand up.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, but you shared the information in the fourth, be further resolved. It explains where everything is going, which department is picking up the positions. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Commissioner. All right, seeing no further discussion, Madam Clerk, please call the roll on the resolution.
Thank you. On the resolution, Commissioner Kowal,
Yes.
Kuhn,
Yes.
Long,
Yes.
Loops,
Yes.
Markham,
Yes.
McGilvery,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Quarles,
Yes.
Biz,
Yes.
Cobb,
Yes.
Weipert,
Yes.
Woodward,
Yes.
Zach,
Yes.
Hershenson,
Yes.
Gingell,
Yes.
Hoffman,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Kokendorfer.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, you have 20 yeas, 0 nays.
Sufficient number voting in the affirmative, the resolution is adopted. Commissioner Zach.
That concludes my report this evening.
Thank you, Commissioner. That will bring us to Health, Safety, and Human Services Committee, Penny Lubes, and I think we're going to start with item A that was on the consent agenda. Right? No, yes, not A under Health on the consent agenda that got moved to the regular agenda. Commissioner Lubes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Then I have 4 items on our regular agenda today. So under A is that Human Services, the 1-year contract extension with the Siegel Company Midwest States.
Commissioner Lubes, we're going to start with item A that was pulled from the consent agenda. So look at the consent agenda, item A, the Health and Human Services Community and Home Improvement Division approval of project funding for development of affordable renting housing in the city of Pontiac.
Yeah,
It's under the consent agenda.
I'm looking at it under the consent agenda, and I have 3. Oh, under health. Sorry.
Yes,
All right.
yes.
Thank you.
I know, I did the same thing.
I move adoption of the resolution for the Community and Home Improvement Division approval of project funding for redevelopment of affordable rental housing in the city of Pontiac, located at Carriage Place.
Moved by Commissioner Lubes, seconded by Commissioner Powell. Any discussion? Commissioner Tom.
Thank you, and thank you for putting this on the regular agenda. I have some questions on the loan, okay? As I understand it, please correct me if I'm not correct, the city of Pontiac is borrowing $1.5 million to fix up someplace called Carriage Place. I presume this is an apartment house. And my question is, who owns the building? Was it built privately and then sold to the city of Pontiac, or was it built by the city of Pontiac? I'd like some information on that if I could. That's my first question.
Anyone want to address that?
I know some of the history of the building. This is Commissioner Powell, but I don't know that specific question, so I will have to defer that until I can get an answer for it.
So does the city of Pontiac now own this building?
No, actually, the building is owned by the Pontiac Housing Commission. I'm sorry. It's by the Pontiac Housing Commission, and it's not owned by the city anymore.
Okay, now, so we are giving a loan to the Pontiac Housing Committee, is that correct, or commission?
Yeah.
Are there people?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, Elaine, Commissioner Zach can answer that question. Thank you, Commissioner Zach, for assisting.
Commissioner Zach to Commissioner Tom.
So let me try and explain to you what's going on here. So the Pontiac Housing Commission approached several different organizations, Ethos Development, as well as Lighthouse, these are low-income housing units that have been on the books for years. And there is an opportunity through HUD to go for government funding to renovate these long-term low-income housing units. And it's a very complex process. And this collaborative group went before the Michigan State Housing Authority and got low income tax credits. And there was a gap in funding. So they came to the county asking for some support. And it's structured that through the Home Improvement Division, there is this $1.5 million loan that will add to this gap in the whole financing package, which is about $44 million. And so we're one small piece in making this deal go forward.
And that's, I mean, to renovate the 234 unit.
Right, and there's a private organization that's doing the funding for it, that is stepping into it. It's a whole collaborative.
Okay. Okay, I had a bunch of hands up here. Okay, so I got Commissioner Powell, if you want to add some clarity, and then.
Yes,
Commissioner Todd,
I
and
just
Commissioner Hoffman.
thought, I have Mike Taylor, who is the Pontiac Housing Commission Chair, on my phone. He stated that the building is owned by the Pontiac Housing Commission.
Okay. Thank you, Commissioner. So Commissioner Todd, followed by Commissioner Hoffman. Commissioner Todd.
So let me understand this then. A private organization is going to rehab this or is looking for money for it? I'm a little bit confused there. And I want to know if there are people residing in these buildings now, or this building.
Commissioner Powell, you want to?
The individuals residing in the building are all Pontiac residents now that are currently there. They're all low-income Pontiac residents.
Okay, so what's going to happen to them when they start chopping their places apart?
Commissioner Zach, do you?
So my understanding is,
let me tell you.
by design, not all of the units are filled. They've left some open with the intent when they embark on the renovation project, they'll be able to move the residents into the empty units so that they won't be displaced from the building. And they will go, so they will be in some units and then be moved back to their original one.
Okay, and which private organization, Mr. Chair, is funding this or putting the funding together? And if so, and if there is a private organization, why are they doing it as opposed to the Pontiac Housing Authority?
I believe it's
It's a funder. It's not a private organization. When you put together one of these affordable housing deals, there are different investors that will loan the money, but they don't own it. They're just a lender, and it's a part of it. There's low income tax credits, Lighthouses, one of the fiduciaries that is putting together this whole package. And the contract has been fully reviewed by our corporation council. They've signed off on it. It is done, through the home fund. So they're giving their approval.
I will. If I may
Commissioner
follow.
Taub, and then I'm gonna come back, and then
One
Commissioner.
more question. How are we going to get paid back? Or is that not the intent of the loan? Or, I'm sorry. I didn't
You
hear
want me to speak into the finance? As the loans all get paid back, I imagine that we have claim to reclaim the $1.5 million of home dollars that are being used to support.
Yes,
Commissioner Powell.
Hold on.
Okay.
Hold on. Per the Housing Commission, he said that there is a process in place for the repayment through Mr.
Thank you. All right, Commissioner Hoffman.
Well, that was my question too. And Commissioner Powell just indicated there's a way to pay it back, but I'm just curious, how is it being paid back? Is it paid back by renting the units out? I'm just curious.
Commissioner Powell or Commissioner Zach, I know that has spent time vetting this proposal. I imagine that this is similar to other MISHDA tax credit funding operations in which the revenue that's generated helps pay off the loan, and using the Michigan State Housing Development Authority Low Income Tax Credit Program is a mechanism to be able to do that.
Well, the tax credits help, but the money still has to be paid back. All that does is help them on their taxes.
Commissioner Top, for a fifth time.
One thing I would hate to have to see in my retirement, which is coming soon, thank the Lord, is will the county then own 6 apartments? If it's not paid back, I would hate to have Oakland County being the landlord business.
No, no, no.
All right, is there any further discussion? Seeing no further discussion, Madam Clerk, please call the roll on the resolution.
Thank you. On the resolution, Commissioner Kuhn,
Yes.
Long,
Yes.
Lubes,
Yes.
Markham,
Yes.
McGilvery,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Howell,
Yes.
Quarles,
Yes.
Fizz,
Yes.
Cobb,
Yes.
Vipert,
Yes.
Woodward,
Yes. Yes.
Zach,
Yes.
Gershenson,
Yes.
Angel,
Yes.
Hoffman,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Hokendorfer,
Yes.
Kowal. I'm sorry, Kowal?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Chair, 20 ayes, 0 nays.
A sufficient number voting in the affirmative, the resolution is adopted. Commissioner Lutz.
Yes. Next item is a resolution to honor the life and legacy of Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg and her most fervent wish. And I move the adoption of the resolution.
First, I think we have to adopt the report. So Commissioner Lubes moves the report, seconded by Commissioner Nelson. All in favor of receiving the report, say aye.
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 Opposed, say nay. The report is adopted. And then Commissioner Nelson moves, seconded by Commissioner Lubes, to move the resolution. Any discussion? Commissioner Spiz.
Yes, I have an amendment on page 811. I'd like to introduce, please.
Moved by
Amendment is-
moved by Commissioner Spiz, seconded by Commissioner Hoffman. Commissioner Spiz, want to explain your amendment?
Yes, please. I'd like to remove all politics out of this resolution to recognize the great things that Ruth Bader Ginsburg has done. So by striking "and her most fervent wish" and the last, "be it further resolved," I think we'll do that. And let's focus on what this great woman has done for this country versus making it political.
Any discussion on the amendment? Commissioner Hoffman.
Thank you, Chairman Woodward. This is similar to the last thing we just voted on, where the county executive has authority to reorganize this department. And I think this amendment or this resolution states that we're also asking or suggesting that the President of the United States doesn't have authority to nominate a Supreme Court justice. It's all the same thing on a different scale, and I'm in favor of the amendment that Commissioner Spiz has proposed.
Thank you, Commissioner Hoffman. Commissioner Nelson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As we all know, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, she's left a lasting legacy, and her influence has impacted all Americans. When we look at presidential appointments, they impact Americans' daily lives in terms of our fundamental rights, our minimum wage, healthcare, job training, and as we all know, so much more. the president and Congress have a responsibility to honor the will of the people. And that's by refraining from having the Supreme Court justice position appointed. Let the people speak in November and the next president inaugurated in January, period. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Nelson. Commissioner Hoffman for a second time.
Thank you, Chairman Woodward. This is no different. I mean, the President of the United States had the authority to do this, and President Obama did the same thing, and Congress would not take it up then, and I objected to it then because President Obama had the right to do this, and President Trump has the right to do this, whether you like him or not. County Executive Dave Coulter had a right to do what he did. They have it. They're in office right now. They have the authority to do it. So with all due respect, Commissioner Nelson, I disagree with that point you made. The Chief Justice, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, was an incredible asset to the United States. And that's not what we're talking about. Saluting her for everything she did and keep politics out of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Hoffman. Hey, Commissioner Spiz, moving on my screen. Commissioner Spiz.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. This is exactly why I want to strike these, because it has nothing to do with the President of the United States, anybody else other than Ruth Bader Ginsburg. So let's keep politics out of it. Let's recognize the woman for the great things she's done, and let's strike these lines.
Any further discussion on the amendment? Commissioner Nelson for a second time on the amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Nelson. Any further discussion? Seeing no further discussion, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Chair.
Oh, Commissioner McGill, Commissioner Ginjo.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to add for the record that we just voted on this exact same principle one way a minute ago, and now we're going to turn around and vote on it differently. It just seems really, critical from my standpoint. Seems very political and hypocritical, to be honest with you.
Thank you, Commissioner Ginjo. Seeing no further discussion, Madam Clerk, please call the roll on the amendment.
Yes, on the amendment, Commissioner Long,
Yes.
Lubes,
No.
Markham,
No.
McGilvray,
No.
Miller,
No.
Nelson,
No.
Howell,
No.
Quarles,
No.
Spiz,
Yes.
Taub,
Yes.
Weipert. I'm sorry, sir.
Yes.
Thank you. Woodward,
No.
Zach,
No.
Gershenson,
No.
Gingell,
Yes.
Hoffman,
Yes.
Jackson,
No.
Kokendorfer,
Yes.
Kowal,
Yeah.
Kuhn.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, you have 9 yeas, 11 nay.
An insufficient number voting in the affirmative, the amendment fails. It brings us back to the main motion. Any further discussion on the main motion? Commissioner Taub.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would like to put an amendment on the board, present an amendment to the board, and it would follow the second whereas, and it reads as follows, and I think it's somewhere in your packet.
Page 812.
It's 822 in the latest version.
Whereas Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg became the first female Jewish justice ever to serve on the United States Supreme Court.
Moved by Commissioner Taub. Is there a second? Do not see a second. Oh, second by Commissioner.
I'll support that. And as a friendly, does this mean that you will support the resolution, Commissioner Todd?
I will always support Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Commissioner Zach, I am disappointed in the end of the resolution, though.
Okay, thank you. I will support it.
Any further discussion? Commissioner Hoffman.
Would you please restate the motion, please?
Commissioner Todd, can
Whereas-
you restate the motion?
Yes. Whereas Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg became the first female Jewish justice ever to serve on the U.S. Supreme Court.
Any further discussion? Oh, sorry. Any further discussion? It's written and it's in the packet. Seeing no further discussion, I think that Brock said all in favor of supporting the amendment, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say nay. For the record, reflect that the amendment is adopted unanimously. That brings us back to the main motion. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Yes, on the main motion. Commissioner Lubes,
Yes.
Markham,
Yes.
McGilvery,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Quarles,
Yes.
Biz,
No.
Taub,
Yes.
Wipert,
Yeah.
Woodward,
Yes.
Zach,
Yes.
Gershenson,
Yes.
Angel,
No.
Hoffman,
No.
Jackson,
Yes.
Kokendorfer,
No.
Kowal,
No.
Boone,
No.
Long,
No.
Change mine to a no.
thank you. That was Wipert, correct?
Correct.
Mr. Chair, 12 yay, 8 nay.
Sufficient number voting in the affirmative, the resolution is adopted. Commissioner Lubes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The next item, I move to accept the acceptance of the county executive plan to partner with the Community Foundation for Southeast Michigan on a community policing innovation fund for Oakland County communities.
Moved by Commissioner Lubes, seconded by Commissioner Zach. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, Commissioner Spiz.
Yes, I do have a question. So we're giving $1 million to an organization outside of the county. Is that this one?
The Community
Southeast
Foundation for Southeast Michigan.
Yeah. Is anybody on that can give us a little more information about this organization before we agree to give them $1 million of Oakland County taxpayer money?
Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Lubes, if you want to speak to it, I mean, the largest foundation in Southeast Michigan, but yeah. Commissioner Lubes.
Our administration and sheriff's report that they were excited to build a partnership between the foundation, the Hudson Rubber Foundation, and the Community Foundation. They've been working with 7 counties with tech advisors on the community policing initiatives. Cities may apply to be the pilot communities. The supplement money of $1 million will allow additional Oakland County communities to apply for this program. So the contract really is with Community Foundation of Southeast Michigan to implement this pilot program moving forward.
And to Commissioner Lubes' point, that the Community Foundation for Southeast Michigan was planning to provide these grants to local communities that wanted to voluntarily opt into with us allocating $1 million, they're going to be able to provide those grants to more communities that want to voluntarily participate. That's why it's got the support of the Sheriff's Office. And they are, I mean, the Community Foundation for Southeast Michigan is, I mean, like I said, the largest, I think, foundation and kind of a collaborator of foundations in Southeast Michigan, with long established reputation, and has the ability to administer these grants to local communities. Commissioner Spiz?
I guess I still don't get it. What is Oakland County residents or communities going to get for this $1 million? I know it's about community policing, but what do we get for that? What do the communities get? What do the agencies get, et cetera? I'm missing something.
Good. The grants are, and let me read the resolution. The grants are for technical assistance for local communities that want to to develop community policing programs in their respective communities.
So it's an avenue or support system to allow those communities to put in place something relative to community policing.
Correct.
If I understand correctly.
Correct.
And the $1 million itself will be allocated only to Oakland County communities on top of any additional grant monies that are available to them. Correct?
Yes. And Commissioner Luke, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, that there were some that were, and they're going to make some communities eligible, and this $1 million allows more communities in Oakland County to be eligible for this grant.
Right, and on the Oversight Community Foundation are representatives in Oakland County, including Chief Malloy, who's police chief, I think, in Novi. I don't remember the city, Western Oakland County.
It's Novi.
Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Todd.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I will be supporting this, but I would like to disclose that I know many members of the board. Okay?
Great.
Thank you.
Yep. I believe that there's an amendment, or Commissioner Zach.
I just want to speak on behalf of it. We had it in finance this morning, and we had Under Sheriff McCabe on it, who was very supportive as well. And what we are doing is just incentivizing more opportunities for our communities to move toward the 21st century policing ideas to plan for.
Thank you. I believe that there's an amendment that was in Commissioner Todd, the second time.
Yeah, I just am curious. I want to make sure that all policing units in the county can get some funding for this. Is that the way you're looking at it now?
This is voluntary. I don't know if all communities, $1 million will help, I think almost in effect double the reach of what they were able to do. So it's voluntary based on the communities that want to participate. We want to help as many communities that want to participate.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Jackson might have even greater clarity on that.
Yes, it came before us yesterday in Health and Human Services, and I brought the point up because there's going to be an application process depending upon where our municipalities lie with their community policing efforts. In Southfield, we are very forward with community policing. We may become more of an advisory municipality. Commissioner Powell brought up the relationship between the Sheriff's Office and Pontiac, with them having a contract with the Sheriff's Office for policing. So it's going to meet communities where they are and offer an opportunity to grow community policing throughout our county. Because we hear all the time, you go through certain municipalities and policing or police reactions as far as our constituents might be different than others. And so it's a way maybe kind of to help even the playing field at this moment in time. So with Sheriff McCabe being for it, I think it's a good deal for where we are right now as far as law enforcement. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Jackson. Commissioner Todd, for a third time.
Yeah, sorry, I have lots of questions. So in other words, any police department and or sheriff's department could receive this funding, am I correct? Because the sheriff's department is the police department for a lot of our municipalities. Would the sheriff's department be able to apply for this grant money too?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. I believe that there's an amendment in the packet. Does someone want to move that amendment?
Page 825, just changing the sponsorship because it was a committee initiated resolution and it was Commissioner Markham's initiative with the county executive's office.
Okay. So, okay, Commissioner Markham moves, seconded by Commissioner Lubes. All in favor of adopting that amendment? All it does is change the sponsor. Commissioner Markham brought this up in the budget process. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say nay. Let the record reflect the amendment adopted unanimously. Is there any further discussion on the resolution? Commissioner Spitz.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just one final question for me. So if any organization in the Oakland County Sheriff's Department can apply for this monies, can we not just put $1 million into the sheriff's budget to do the same thing? A lot of head shaking no, but why not?
I believe that this is Commissioner Gershenson, right? Or Commissioner Markham. Do you want to have Commissioner Markham then Commissioner Gershenson?
Well, I'll jump in. It's a competitive process. It's actually supposed to, as Commissioner Jackson said, it's there for the police departments, large and small, and the sheriff's department across the county to be able to apply for these funds. It is a competitive process. They'll have to fill out the grant applications, and they will be evaluated by a review committee that this group is going to be the reviewers of it. So it's really outside of the county responsibility once we make this $1 million available to this group, but it's a competitive process. And I will say, we are hoping that many of the police departments over time will take steps to, some of them are already accredited, but many are taking steps to become accredited. And this initiative incentivizes them to be able to move forward and do that. So that's the main goal.
Thank you. Commissioner Spiz for a fourth time.
Sorry. Thank you again for the fourth time, Mr. Chair. I guess I don't understand why we would send money outside of the county to a third-party agency only to get it back and create all this extra paperwork when we can do it, if we can do it amongst ourselves. That's the part I don't understand. Why can't we do it ourselves?
So there is grant dollars that are being made available, and we're basically leveraging that and expanding it so that more police agencies can take advantage of a program to improve and expand community policing technical assistance to those communities that voluntarily want to participate. I think it's a good thing.
I don't necessarily disagree with the good thing. I just would think we could create our own grant program within Oakland County to do it instead of going back and forth and creating all this additional paperwork that takes more time and effort on everybody's part. Efficiencies.
The great thing about, from efficiency, this is like one piece of paperwork, this resolution, and then we're done. Commissioner Taub. Commissioner Taub for
Thank you. For the 10th time, okay.
I know, right? It's more than anyone else has been afforded. But yes, Commissioner
Thank
Taub.
you. Now I have some concerns about this because we have, I think, multiple policing unit organizations in this county. So we're going to have some winners and we're going to have some losers. I don't like to see losers among police organizations. I feel that this program or this should be available to every single unit in this county that wants to do policing. So who are we going to turn away? I don't know. So making it a grant program that way, where it is competitive, to me, doesn't make any sense. We're going to have some really good, terrific policing units and some that are crappy. I don't think so. I would like to revisit this if we could possibly do it, Mr. Chair, because we're pitting one police department against another in a grant. I don't like this. Why can't we give it to every police department?
Okay, Commissioner Taub, let's build on the success of this program. If we do nothing, there will be fewer communities that participate. We're leveraging that money and adding $1 million so more that can participate. And if the demand is so overwhelming, we can come back and revisit adding more additional money to the program. So, with that,
So would you amend the resolution and say that, Commissioner?
no. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Thank you. Commissioner Markham?
This is on the resolution, right? Yes.
Correct.
Yes.
Thank you. McGilvray?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
Nelson?
Yes.
Powell?
Yes.
Quarles?
Yes.
Is?
No.
Cobb?
Yes.
Wypert?
Yes.
Woodward?
Yes.
Zach?
Yes.
Gershenson?
Yes.
Gingell? Gingell?
I think he had to drop off.
Hoffman?
Yes.
Jackson?
Yes.
Kokendorfer?
Yes.
Kowal?
Yes.
Kuhn?
Yes.
Long?
Yes.
Lubes?
Yes.
Mr. Chair, 18 yeas, 1 nay.
Sufficient number voting in the affirmative, the resolution is adopted. Commissioner Lewis.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The next item is the Health and Human Services Community Home and Improvement Reorganization of Division. Mr. Chair, I move the adoption of the resolution.
Moved by Commissioner Lube, seconded by Commissioner Jackson. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Thank you. Commissioner McGilvray?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
Nelson?
Yes.
Powell?
Yes.
Quarles?
Yes.
Is?
Yes.
Cobb? Commissioner Todd?
Mute, Shelley.
Yes.
Thank you. Wypert?
Yes.
Woodward?
Yes.
Zach?
Yes.
Gershenson?
Yes.
Gingell? Oh. Hoffman?
Yes.
Mike
Jackson?
Julin? Yes.
Kokendorfer?
Yes.
Kowal?
Yes.
Kuhn?
Yes.
Long?
Yes.
Lubes?
Yes.
Markham?
Yes.
Was that Gingell? Did he come back on the phone?
No, his phone's died.
Okay, okay. All right, Mr. Chair, you have 19 yeas, 0 nay.
Sufficient number voting in the affirmative, the resolution is adopted. That brings us Commissioner Lubes.
Mr. Chair, the next item is item N, Michigan Department of Health and Human Services appointment. Let's see. The Oakland County DHS Agency Board recommends the following appointment for a 3-year term beginning November 1st, 2020 to October 31st, 2023 for Sherry Ross.
All right. We move. I think we have to do the report first. So, Chair Lubes, Committee Chair Lubes moves the report, seconded by Commissioner Quarles. All in favor of receiving the report, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Let the record reflect the report adopted unanimously. Moved by Commissioner Lubes, seconded by Commissioner Quarles, the appointment of Sherry Ross of the Michigan Department of Human Services Oakland County DHS Board. Any discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Thank you. Miller,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Howell,
Yes.
Quarles,
Yes.
Biz,
Yes.
Taub,
Yes.
Wypert,
Yes.
Woodward,
Yes.
Zach,
Yes.
Gershenson,
Yes.
Hoffman,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Kokendorfer,
Yes.
Kowal,
Yes.
Kuhn,
Yes.
Long,
Yes.
Lubes,
Yes.
Markham,
Yes.
McGilvery.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, you have 19 yeas, 0 nay.
Sufficient number voting affirmative, the resolution is adopted. Now, unfortunately, the last item, the Health and Human Services Community Home Improvement Reorganization Division, there were 2 amendments in the packet that we skipped over, so we need to go back and fix that. So I need a motion to reconsider the vote in which that item passed, moved by Commissioner Gershenson, seconded by Commissioner Zach, to reconsider the vote in which Health and Human Services was adopted. Can we do that by a voice vote, Madam Clerk? What?
I think I can clarify. I don't think we actually did this item yet, Mr. Chair. We did the other reorganization. We did the EDCA reorganization. We have a couple of reorganizations tonight, so.
Oh, I got it. I thought we just did that one.
We did that without any amendments.
Without
If
any
you did-
amendments.
I'm sorry, you're correct then.
Okay, all right. I saw the blue sheets, and I want to thank staff for making the amendments pop out of these packets from everything else. I think it's an incredibly useful tool. So can I do it by voice vote to reconsider the vote, Madam Clerk?
I'm going to say yes.
I'm going to say yes. All in favor of reconsidering the vote so we can consider these 2 amendments, say aye.
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 Opposed, say nay. Let the record reflect unanimously we're reconsidering the vote. It brings the main motion forward. We have 2 amendments. Commissioner Lubes moves the first amendment, which I think there's some grammar issues being addressed. And some maybe technical things or some edits in Word. So moved by Commissioner Lubes. This is the first amendment on page. I lost my page numbers. Where are my page numbers?
821, 828, Mr. Chair, sorry.
Yep. Moved by Commissioner Loop, seconded by Commissioner Gershenson. All in favor of adopting that amendment? Again, it's just grammar changes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say nay. The record reflects that the amendment is adopted unanimously. And the second amendment is an amendment dealing with Gosling. So they moved by Commissioner Taub, seconded by Commissioner Lubes, to add be it further resolve clause that acceptance of these grants does not obligate the county to any future commitments and continuation of the special revenue positions are contingent upon continued future levels of grant funding. Long tradition that has served us well in Oakland County. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of adopting the amendment, say aye.
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 Opposed, say nay. Let the record reflect that the Gosling amendment is adopted unanimously. And that brings it back to the main motion. Madam Clerk, can you call the roll one more time with those 2 amendments on that item?
Thank you. Commissioner Nelson,
Yes.
Howell,
Yes.
Quarles,
Yes.
Biz,
Yes.
Cobb,
Yes.
Wypert,
Yes.
Woodward,
Yes.
Zach,
Yes.
Gershenson,
Yes.
Gingell, Hoffman,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Okendorfer,
Yes.
Kowal,
Yes.
Kuhn,
Yes.
Long, Commissioner Long,
Yes.
thank you. Lubes,
Yes.
Markham,
Yes.
McGilvray,
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, you have 19 yeas, 0 nay.
A sufficient number voting affirmative, the resolution is adopted. Thank you, everybody. That brings us, I give the floor back to Commissioner Lube. I think there's one more item.
One more item, Mr. Chair. I move we accept the report from Oakland Community Health Network for the appointment of Christina Rudd.
Commissioner Lubes moves the report, seconded by Commissioner Markham. All in favor of accepting the report, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Let the record reflect that the report is received unanimously. That brings us to the main motion, moved by Commissioner Lubes, seconded by Commissioner Taub. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, Madam Clerk, please call the roll on the appointment of Ms. Ruth.
Yes, on the appointment, Commissioner Powell,
Pass.
Commissioner Quarles,
Yes.
Is,
Yes.
Taub,
Yes.
Wypert,
Yes.
Woodward,
Yes.
Zach,
Yes.
Gershenson,
Yes.
Hoffman,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Kokendorfer,
Yes.
Kowal,
Yes.
Kuhn,
Yes.
Long,
Yes.
Lubes,
Yes.
Markham,
Yes.
McGilvray,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Powell.
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Chair, you have 19 yeas, 0 nay.
Sufficient number voting affirmative, the resolution is adopted. Commissioner Lubes.
That concludes my report, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Lubes. I'll move to pandemic response and economic recovery. We have 2 items. I'm going to call on Commissioner Gershenson. We'll start with item A that was on the consent agenda that was pulled off.
I think, yep, thank you, Mr. Chair. I move the acceptance of the Michigan Department of Treasury First Responder Hazard Pay Premiums Program, a grant acceptance.
Moved by Commissioner Gershenson, seconded by Commissioner Wypert. Any discussion? Commissioner Miller. Oh, you're on mute, Commissioner Miller.
Thank you. Yeah, I just wanted to see or ask, where's the money going to be appropriated?
Where is the money going to be appropriated? Are you asking about from the general fund? What revenue lines in the general fund?
This is the one that I asked to take off the agenda, right?
Correct.
Yes. Yeah, because there's a couple ways it can be appropriated, either back to the fund or to individuals that were working during this time.
On the budget amendment, this is accepting the grant money coming in and puts it in the line item, in the expenditure line items as detailed in the resolution.
Well, I understand that. So is this accepting the grant and then it's going to be further approved on where the money's going to go, or is this accepting it and then the money's going to go where it's already said where it's going to go? Because I read the application, and the application says that it either can be a reimbursement or it can be given to employees working during this time. That would be covered under that.
This resolution speaks to, applying for the grant money from the state that we're eligible for and putting it in our general fund. I think what you're asking, the question is, are we approving expenditures up to $1,000 per eligible employee?
Correct.
Or are we taking it as a reimbursement? So it's a great question. I've talked to the administration asking for clarity in writing. This resolution actually brings the money into Oakland County's general fund. I've asked for writing clarification. I have been told that the interpretation is that if you didn't provide hazard pay, then you can bring this money in to pay hazard pay. Otherwise, it has to be reimbursement. I've asked for clarification in writing. And then based on that, we can have a conversation of where we appropriate general fund dollars at any given time.
Okay, yeah, because I've asked, last time I asked for it, they were waiting to see if it was approved. I hadn't heard back yet. The first was, unfortunately, I wasn't able to be at the pandemic meeting, but this was passed. So I was just wondering where it was at because I haven't received anything either. And I've asked many times about this, so that's why I'm questioning this.
Okay, Commissioner Miller. Is there any further question, comment on the resolution?
Well, I just want to, Chair, if I may.
Commissioner Miller.
Continue, yeah. So my understanding is what you said is we're going to accept the money and then we'll decide where it's going to go after it's in the general fund. Is that?
And I just want to clarification. I'll ask staff to help me verify in terms of the general fund, the line item, the revenue and expenditures that are part of the resolution are in there. Mr. Ward, or Mr. Andrews, this money is putting money back into the general fund, correct?
Yeah, that's my understanding, Mr. Chair. And I've received some helpful messages from our soon-to-be Homeland Security Director, pending your approval, of course, here momentarily. And I believe this is a reimbursement grant, as you'll see. So it is for monies that were already expended. And I think there might be a misunderstanding here, and that it says maximum available limits. I think that is the limits on reimbursement for payment per employee, not available disbursement to employees.
Mr. Chair, I believe that Sean Carlson said this morning and that Lynn Sonkus confirmed that this was a reimbursement for expenses for hazard pay that we made in March and April.
Commissioner Miller.
From FEMA.
On page 2 of the document, it's the document that's attached to this agenda item. It reads, the program was created in 2002 and it goes to the public access program is to reimburse and or pay for qualified first responder hazard pay premiums provided the first responder who had performed hazardous duty or work involved physical hardship related to COVID. The program is funded under the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security CARES Act. It says the Public Act. So it's for reimbursement or payment. So that's why I'm just wondering, when I talked to April Lynch, it was said that the county can do either one, reimburse the employees that work during that time, and see, my dogs are excited too. And, or it could go back in the general fund. It was actually the county's decision where it went.
Chairman
So that's
Woodward,
my understanding.
Chairman Woodward, if I may, I do have some further information for the commissioners on this.
Who's asking?
Mr. Andrews.
Sure.
Senior policy analyst for the board. To address
Commissioner Andrews.
To address Commissioner Miller, Commissioner Gershenson is correct. The administration also has provided, and if you some further information on that, that these are for reimbursement to the county for payments that they have already made out to first responders that have worked for the county from April and May. And I think in reading the application, it does have a date where 9/30 is the cutoff for those expenses that have been made to first responders by the local government entities. So I don't think that this will cover any future reimbursement payments that will be made to any of the deputies or any first responders that are there. So hopefully that answered your question, Commissioner Miller.
Any further discussion? Seeing no further discussion, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Thank you. Commissioner Quarles,
Yes.
Biz,
Yes.
Cobb,
Yes.
Wypert,
Yes.
Woodward,
Yes.
Zach,
Yes.
Gershenson,
Yes.
Hoffman,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Kokendorfer,
Yes.
Kowal,
Yes.
Kuhn,
Yes.
Long, Commissioner Long, Loops,
Yes.
Markham,
Yes.
McGilvery,
Yes.
Middleton. Oh, he's gone. Miller,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Powell.
Yes.
I'll go back to Commissioner Long. Are you there? Mr. Chair, you have 18 yes, 0 no.
A sufficient number voting in the affirmative, the resolution is adopted. Commissioner Gershenson.
Yes, Mr. Chair, I'd like to move the county executive appointment, Director of Emergency Management and Homeland Security position pending board approval.
And we have, we changed, I think, the name of that making committee, and we are, we adopted already, the board has already adopted the new department under the executive. Commissioner Gershenson moves, seconded by Commissioner Hoffman, to appoint Tom Hardesty as Director of Emergency Management and Homeland Security. Any discussion? I speak on behalf of the entire board that it is an amazing choice. Tom has demonstrated himself to be incredibly capable in his role, and this more senior level role of Homeland Security will be served well under his leadership. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Yes, on the appointment. Commissioner Spiz,
Yes.
Cobb,
Yes.
Weipert,
Yes.
Woodward,
Yes.
Zach,
Yes.
Gershenson,
Yes.
Hoffman,
I'll vote for Mike too, yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Kokendorfer,
Yes.
Kowal,
Yes.
Kuhn, Commissioner Kuhn, I didn't see him on here. Okay. Commissioner Long,
Yes.
Lubes,
Yes.
Markham,
Yes.
McGilvray,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Quarles.
Yes.
I'll try Kuhn again. Did he drop off? He must have. I don't see him on here anymore. Mr. Chair, you have 18 yay, 0 nay.
A sufficient number voting in the affirmative, the appointment is confirmed. Commissioner Gershenson.
So I have.
Okay. Commissioner, and that concludes the report. That will move us on to reports of special, well, maybe just check with staff. I know we pulled a lot of things off the consent agenda. Have we missed anything? I think we got it all.
I believe we're current, yes.
Current. Okay, beautiful. Okay, that moves us to reports of special committees. There are none. Brings us to special order of business. There's a few things. I know Commissioner Taub, you've got 1, 2, 3 items. Would you like to, Commissioner Taub?
Yes, I would like to remove a D, because pools are now open. I guess the governor did listen to me. And the next one would be E. I'd like to remove that also, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
To remove, but maintain the other one?
Yes, sir.
And give notice for a future meeting. Okay, so we'll take D and E, we'll take them off, and then we'll keep item A. Commissioner Kowal? Give notice to postpone? How about Commissioner Hoffman gives notice to postpone to a future meeting? Commissioner Kowal?
Yes, I ask permission to postpone. Thank you.
Postpone, okay. Give notice for the next meeting. Commissioner Kokendorfer?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to give notice to postpone.
Those are postponed to the next meeting. And Commissioner Ginzel, I know, dropped off. Commissioner Spiz?
Yes, we'd like to move that forward, and
So Commissioner Spiz moves to discharge. This is item F under special order of business, moves to discharge miscellaneous resolution 20339. Is there a second? Commissioner Hoffman seconds. Notices of discharge, you can debate the merits of the issue. Commissioner Spiz, would you like to speak to the motion to discharge?
thank you, Mr. Chair. The motion or the resolution in front of you is relative to use a free day at the parks, Oakland County Parks, which is similar to what this group or this board put on the ballot proposal coming up in 2 weeks. So we'd like to just pull it ahead and make it formal.
Okay, any further discussion? Commissioner McGilvery, you're on mute, Commissioner McGilvery.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I will be voting against this amendment. As everyone I think knows, that the county parks millage is on the ballot on November 3rd. Part of that will include exactly kind of what you're asking, and we're not sure if the millage is going to pass. So I think that this is premature, and so I'll be voting against it.
Thank you, Commissioner McGilvery. I'm going to be voting against discharge, even though, I think the merits of the issue, warrants a conversation. I think this resolution is a little prematurely before us. The Parks and Rec Commission that we appoint members to haven't had an opportunity to review this. This resolution does not have a budget amendment or cost estimate of what this actually costs. And so, it frankly is improperly before us. Okay, whoever's on, can you mute yourself? Thank you. The fact that there's no budget amendment, we have no estimate of cost here. This board has deliberated at length about deferred maintenance and needs of the park system. And so I think it's fiscally irresponsible just to approve this without having any idea what it costs. That's not how we do business here in Oakland County. What I would like to see if the maker of the motion would entertain a conversation and if we ask the chair of Health and Safety Committee to bring this topic up at the next Health and Safety Committee, we can have a conversation and maybe ask about what is the budget implications of this so we can discuss it further.
I'm not sure I can answer that for the originator of the motion. He's not on the phone.
Well, you're the motion. You made the motion to discharge. The sponsor of the amendment. Yeah. No, there is no budget amendment. It actually is improper before us without a budget amendment. We have no idea what it costs. And then there's also protocol without having engaged the Parks and Rec Commission on this.
An avenue is always to put it on the agenda for the committee because that's what the originator originally wanted, was to go forward to that committee for further discussion. But since we couldn't get it on the agenda, we brought it here. And with
Commissioner Lubes is signaling that she will place it on the next committee meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Happy to do so.
Does that satisfy you? Mr. Commissioner Spiz?
Let me think about that for a minute, but go to Mr. Hoffman.
Okay, so Commissioner Hoffman.
I have a question then. If this millage increase of 50% passes, would this amendment be moot because people are going to get free passes to the parks? Is that what's included in the millage?
I would say, so the millage includes provisions that would allow for free day passes for seniors 62 and over, military, veterans, residents with permanent disabilities. It does that, but this adds a whole nother group of people, first responders and healthcare workers, which we have no idea of what the cost implications of those are, which I think it's irresponsible for us to take that action without understanding what that is, without letting Parks and Rec to be able to make a recommendation on how to proceed. That being said, I think some of it would be made available, and I think we could accelerate and bring it up further. And Commissioner Lubes has agreed to place it on the next committee agenda.
I appreciate that, and that's a good point. could I see the fiscal notes for allowing the seniors to do it if the millage passes? Because obviously that's how we determine not only the deferred maintenance, but this cost of letting seniors enter the park for free. Where are the fiscal notes on that?
That was part of presentation and reports that we received when we adopted the Parks and we can have staff pull that up so you can actually see what the cost of those are.
All right, thank you very much.
I guess I'll go back to Commissioner Spiz. Is it agreeable to place it on the next agenda?
Yes.
Okay. So you withdraw your motion?
Yes.
Okay. Motion's been withdrawn. Commissioner Hoffman, you agree?
Yes, I agree. Thank you.
Great. All right. It will be placed on, Commissioner Lubes will place it on the next committee meeting. That brings us to, back to my long list, but I'm having a hyperlink jump issue here. Second. All right, I've covered all of those items, and it brings us to unfinished business where there is none. It brings us to new miscellaneous business. And so we've got numbered here. Fortunately, I think that we're going to be able to take a big chunk of these at once. Let's start with the very first one. Commissioner Cole, are you on? Do you want to?
Yes, I am, Mr. Chair. Yes, I would like to introduce Board of Commissioners designation of October 2020 as Distracted Driving Awareness Month in Oakland County. I'd ask for suspension of the rules to consider this this evening.
Commissioner Colall moves to suspend the rules, seconded by Commissioner Spiz to take up this immediately. All in favor of suspending the rules on this resolution, say aye.
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 Opposed, say nay. The rules are suspended. Let the record reflect unanimously. And then Commissioner Colall moves, seconded by Commissioner Spiz to move the resolution. Commissioner Colall, do you want to speak to the resolution?
Well, it's normally in April, and I've introduced resolutions for a number of years now. So I'm happy to do it again. I'm hoping that if that COVID will be under control, or maybe not a question next April, and I'd certainly like to do a whole lot more in promoting the not distracted driving. As Commissioner Miller brought up on the last meeting, I believe it was, there were two road workers that were hit. One sadly killed, the other one injured. And I have to think that distracted driving is certainly a threat to people that are working on the road, and never mind people driving and others that they're a menace to people on the road. So it's really tempting to pick up that phone, but I think that it's more important to keep your eyes on the road and watch where you're going.
Thank you, Commissioner Colall. Well said. Well said. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Thank you. On the resolution, Commissioner Taub,
Yes.
Vipert,
Yes.
Woodward,
Yes.
Zach,
Yes.
Gershenson,
Yes.
Hoffman,
Yes.
Jackson,
Oh, yes.
Bokendorfer,
Yes.
Kowal,
Yes.
Kuhn, Long,
Yes.
Boobs,
Yes.
Markham,
Yes.
McGilvray,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Howell,
Yes.
Quarles,
Yes.
Is.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, you have 18 yeas, 0 nay.
Sufficient number voting affirmative, the resolution is adopted. That brings us to the next resolution. I'll recognize Commissioner Jackson.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to bring forth this evening a resolution to support the observance of the month of October as National Disability Employment Awareness Month.
I think we have the breast cancer awareness resolution.
Oh, okay. I'm so sorry.
No problem.
I want to just bring forth the month of October being Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Asking for suspension of the rules because of the date. First of all.
Okay. Moved by Commissioner Jackson, seconded by Commissioner Spiz to suspend the rules. All in favor of suspending the rules, say aye.
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 Opposed, say nay. Let the record reflect that the rules are suspended unanimously. The resolution is moved by Commissioner Jackson, seconded by Commissioner Spiz to adopt the resolution. Commissioner Jackson, do you want to speak to the resolution?
Yes, I just want to just say real quickly, we all are very aware of this pervasive disease and how many women, close friends, family it has affected, I'm sure, with each and every one of us. And so as a Board of Commissioners, I'm very proud to bring this forth tonight.
Great. Thank you, Commissioner Jackson. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Thank you. Yes, on the resolution, Commissioner Weipert,
Yes.
Woodward,
Yes.
Zach,
Yes.
Gershenson,
Yes.
Hoffman,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Okendorfer,
Yes.
Kowal,
Yes.
Kuhn, Long,
Yes.
Boobs,
Yes.
Markham,
Yes.
McGilvray,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Howell,
Yes.
Quarles,
Yes.
Biz,
Yes.
Cobb,
Yes.
carry of 18 yea, 0 nay.
By sufficient number voting in the affirmative, the resolution is adopted. Commissioner Long.
Yes, Chairman, can you make sure that we're all added on that? I don't know if I signed on to some of these, and I think all of us would like to be on these
All right.
three.
How about
ones.
How about Commissioner Long moves? I mean, all those who voted in affirmative of the resolution be added as co-sponsors, seconded by Weipert. All in favor of that amendment to add all commissioners' names who voted in the affirmative, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. All commissioners' names that voted in the affirmative will be added as co-sponsors of the resolution.
Thank you.
Commissioner. And Commissioner Jackson, the next resolution.
This is for the National Disability Employment Awareness Month.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry, I'm not looking at the agenda. I just want to bring forth the resolution to recognize that October is National Disability Employment Awareness Month and asking for suspension of rules due to the timing.
Moved by Commissioner Jackson, seconded by Commissioner Long to suspend the rules. All in favor of suspending the rules, say aye.
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 Opposed, say nay. Let the rules, let the record reflect that the rules are suspended unanimously. And brings us to the main motion, moved by Commissioner Jackson, seconded by Commissioner Nelson. Commissioner Jackson, you want to speak to the resolution?
Yes, this is just brought forth to also support Oakland Community Health Network, who is also promoting National Disability Employment Awareness Month this month, the 75th observance of it. And also it coincides with the 30th anniversary of the Americans with Disability Act. And I'm so proud of my Southfield resident for speaking during public comment. She's a very accomplished person who suffered a stroke, ran for Southfield City Council last year, and is a very accomplished individual. So I just want to say that I'm proud to increase awareness and to reflect the commitment to include and accommodate people with disabilities as we rebound in our economy. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Zach. Well said, and I was glad to have a member of the public speak in support and recognition of this. Thank you for bringing this forth. Seeing no further discussion, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Thank you. On the resolution, Commissioner Woodward,
Yes.
Zach,
Yes.
Gershenson,
Yes.
Hoffman,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Ockendorfer,
Yes.
Colwell. Commissioner Colwell,
She just dropped off.
I thought so too, okay. Commissioner Long,
Yes.
Lubes,
Yes.
Markham,
Yes.
McGilvray,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Quarles,
Yes.
Is,
Yes.
Taub,
Yes.
Whitebird.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, you have 17 yeas, 0 nay.
Sufficient number for voting in the affirmative, the resolution is adopted. Commissioner Long, I think I know what you're gonna do. Commissioner Long?
Yeah, same thing. If I could just add all of our names and that we all voted affirmative onto the resolution in support.
Commissioner Long moves, seconded by Commissioner Wiper to add all names of all commissioners that voted in the affirmative as co-sponsors of that resolution. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, say nay. All commissioners that voted in the affirmative are added as co-sponsors. Thank you very much.
Thank
Commissioner.
you.
All right, next item, Commissioner Quarles.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, I would like to move to suspend the rules.
Commissioner Quarles moves to suspend the rules to take up this item. Moved by Commissioner Quarles, seconded by Commissioner Hoffman. All in favor of suspending the rules, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. The rules are suspended. Commissioner Quarles moves, seconded by Commissioner Zach. Commissioner Quarles, you want to speak to the resolution?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. This is a grant that the Board of Commissioners applied for to support the counties and the local cities on making sure that we have safe and secure elections. We are taking it up late because we were just approved today for $150,000 to share with localities. And the intent of this grant is to have whatever PPE that is necessary, as well as if clerks who have other ideas of how to educate, encourage their constituency to come out and vote. I appreciate you for letting me take it up, and I move for acceptance of this grant for $157,907.
Great. All right, let me bring in my hand. Commissioner Taub.
Yes, would communities that have already done this type of work be able to be reimbursed?
I think that it has to fall in line. The grant lays out the specific activities. A number of local communities applied to this fund and received their own money, like Pontiac did, I know Southfield did, and others. I think related to that, we know that, challenges with the post office, clerks are advising people to bring their ballots in, don't mail it, because the law is, and even though there's been some confusion out there, one court said like you could wait beyond the election day. The federal appeals court said nope. Your ballot has to be received by the clerk on election day. We want to make certain that people know we want every vote to count, and so it can support public information and other strategies. And I want to commend Commissioner Quarles for bringing attention to this and working with the local clerks and the nonpartisan organizations that are part of the advisory.
But you haven't answered my question. Can they apply for reimbursement in the grant? Are they permitted, if they've already done a mailing or some such, put up a box to drop your ballots in, can they apply for a reimbursement?
They wouldn't be able to double dip in things. So some of the COVID dollars that we've approved, like through our city grants, have paid for those things, and so you can't make.
No, I understand.
But for things that haven't been paid for, we can use these dollars on anything that's needed or that hasn't been reimbursed by another source, correct?
Because quite frank, and how long do they have to apply? because the election is awfully
It's
soon.
coming up.
And they,
Absolutely. No,
they
it's very short. I know exactly. But so I think that we've got to turn to staff and other ways to figure out ways that we can get these dollars out. But this is money that's on the table that wasn't there now. So people have to move fast.
Okay.
Right.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Thank you. On the resolution, Commissioner Zach,
Yes.
Gershenson,
Yes.
Hoffman,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Okendorfer,
Yes.
Long,
Yes.
Boobs,
Yes.
Markham,
Yes.
McGilvray,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Howell,
Yes.
Quarles,
Yes.
Spiz,
Yes.
Taub,
Yes.
Wypert,
Yes.
Woodward.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, you have 17 yes, 0 no.
A sufficient number voted in the affirmative. The resolution is adopted. Okay. Now the next ones, and I guess we can depend on how we want to do this. And I'm thinking that items E through, well, that local government partnership grant committee has been busy. I think it flows all the way. Holy smokes. Is it, I think it's every single one of them is a CARES Act funding, part of the interlocal agreement, part of the local government partnership grant. Is that correct? Including libraries and senior centers and other things.
And
I'm asking,
Can I just move them
Mr.
all?
Andrews, are we correct? Can we move them all together? Because otherwise we'll be for quite some time.
That's correct.
Mr. Andrews, is that all local government partnership grant
Yes.
applications?
Yeah,
Yes.
and you know, sorry, Chris, if I'm maybe going against what you might say, what I would probably do, Chairman, is approve all the program ones together. So you have two different programs. You have 42 of the CVT program applications and interlocal agreements, and then you actually have one for the school program that you have in a different one from Oxford Community Schools. So I would probably do two different motions.
Yeah, okay, let's jump and let's do, where's the Oxford school one? I see the school one. Okay, it's FF. Okay, why don't we move items E through VV minus, I just lost it. Minus,
Oh, wait, there's another one though, too.
how many school ones are there?
But are there the library too? Should we take those out?
The library is part of the same program. The libraries are part of the
Okay.
local government. Yeah, so
Okay.
we'll just pull out EE and we'll do that one separately. Right? Nope. I'm wrong. Sorry. FF. That's community schools. So pull out FF. We'll move to suspend the rules, and then we'll adopt for all of the rest of them, and then we'll come back and do the Oxford school grant. So can I get a moved by
it.
Commissioner Hoffman, seconded by Commissioner Powell, to suspend the rules, to take up all of these resolutions except for FF, all the remaining resolutions except for FF. All in favor of suspending the rules for those items, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Let the record reflect that we suspended the rules to take up all these items with the exception of FF. Moved by Commissioner iPhone. Commissioner Hoffman and second by Commissioner Powell. Any discussion on any of these? I'll just say I want to commend, I believe it's Commissioner Spiz, Commissioner Markham, and I believe there are a couple other members that have been looking through these and looking at those applications. I know I've heard from a number of communities that have asked, are very appreciative of the support, and I want to commend the Oversight Committee for putting the extra work to bring these proposals to us. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Thank you. Commissioner Gershenson,
Yes.
Hoffman,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yeah.
Ogendorfer,
Yes.
Long,
Yes.
Boobs,
Yes.
Markham,
Yes.
McGilvery,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Quarles,
Yes.
Biz,
Yes.
Taub,
Yes.
Whitebird,
Yes.
Woodward,
Yes.
Zach.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, you have 17 yeas, 0 nay.
A sufficient number voting in the affirmative, the resolution is adopted. And then we have one last resolution here on the list, and I think Commissioner Spiz, I believe it's your turf.
So I'll make the motion.
Make
Yep,
the
my
motion.
turf.
Your turf. Commissioner Spiz moves to suspend the rules for item FF, the interlocal agreement with Oxford Community Schools for distribution of CARES Act funding. Is there, seconded by Commissioner Hoffman? All in favor of suspending the rules, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Let the record reflect that the rules are suspended unanimously. Commissioner Spiz moves the resolution, seconded by Commissioner Hoffman. Any discussion?
I'm sorry, Mr. Chair. I did happen to notice I think this is the first one of these resolutions we're doing in the appropriation, as it's coming from the local government partnership grant program. The last resolve clause, if I'm correct, I think this is coming from the school, Oakland Gathers School COVID Support Fund. We can just have that amendment, unless Michael, if you're listening, if I'm incorrect.
But, excuse me?
Was I asked-
Yeah, Chris, I would agree with you. You probably do need to change that last be it further resolved in the resolution. Again, they were using a template used for the local government, and it looks like that was.
So how should it read?
Okay.
It should read that no budget amendment is required as the appropriation for the Oakland Together School COVID-19 Support Fund was authorized through that 369 resolution. And I can.
So the resolution number is correct and the date's correct?
The resolution number is correct, and yes, the date is correct.
So we
as
are
9/3.
just replacing the Open
I
Together.
will move that amendment.
Okay, yep, this is a word change to make sure that we're talking about schools, not local government. Moved by Commissioner Spiz, seconded by Commissioner Taub. All in favor of swapping a local government for the school partnership program, say aye.
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 Opposed, say nay. Let the amendment adopts, that the record reflect the amendment is adopted unanimous. Brings us back to the main motion. Is there any other technical things? Congratulations to Oxford School for being the first to get out of the gate.
Yep, and I'd also like to give them kudos for being one of the only 2 schools at the start that were open within Oakland County. They are seeing cases here and there, but they're dealing with them very well with the great support from the Oakland County Health Department.
Thank you, Commissioner Spiz. All right, seeing no further discussion, Madam Clerk, please call the roll on the resolution.
Thank you. Commissioner Hoffman,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Ogendorfer,
Yes.
Long,
Yes.
Boobs,
Yes.
Markham,
Yes.
McGilvery,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Quarles,
Yes.
Biz,
Yes.
Taub,
Yes.
Whitebird,
Yes.
Woodward,
Yes.
Zach,
Yes.
Gershenson.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, you have 17 yeas, 0 nays.
Sufficient number voting in the affirmative, the resolution is adopted. I would like to, we're moving on to, that's the last of the resolution, and move on to announcements. And I got the first announcement. This is mostly for anyone who's viewing at home, local community leaders, and for commissioners. The deadline to apply for the local government library senior grants is November 30th, I believe. November 30th. So if they haven't applied yet, please reach out to your senior centers, your libraries, your local communities. We're operating that we have to have all of these funds allocated and spent by December 31st. We don't want to unnecessarily send dollars back to the Fed. We want to help our communities get through COVID. So 11/30 is the deadline. So let's, chop. Get the word out there, contact your local communities, make sure that they're applying all eligible expenses. You can see that the community, the oversight committee has been very busy. Our next meeting, I expect to see even more. Spread the word. 11/30 is the deadline to get those applications in. Any further announcements? See, Commissioner Zach.
Are we going to have a commission meeting next Thursday, the 29th?
I'm moving on to that next. So we're going to adjourn to October 29th at 5 p.m. or call the chair. I expect to cancel that. Remember, we're kind of here because of the Open Meetings Act situation, the law and everything. I don't expect us to have any business, but on the chance that there's something important we have to do, we will make the decision to cancel it by Monday. I expect us to cancel it. If it doesn't get canceled, we'll let everyone know. We plan to cancel it on Monday. Okay? Thank you, everybody. But we stand adjourned until